Hello YouTube, thanks for checking out my channel. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of work on my truck. So what I'm going to show you basically is where the fuel filter is located and how to change it on a 95 F150. So let's take a look. Alright, so there's the truck in all its glory. If you've checked out my other videos, I did a walk around of this truck and you can see it's pretty beat up. It's a rusty but trusty. The fuel filter is basically located in front of the front tank on the frame rail, so it's kind of underneath here. Here's a trick: keep some old carpet rims. This is indoor outdoor carpet we used to have on our porch years ago, and it's nice to have whenever you're working in a gravel drive or it may be wet outside and you need to get underneath your car. I got my high dollar poor man's creeper out here, plus it's a mechanic's pad. But before I get in there, what I've got to show you is how to relieve pressure in your fuel system. Now there's a bunch of different ways to do this, and I'm going to show you that this is the easiest way for me. Now my truck is cool. I have not been running it. It's not hot whatsoever, and it has set overnight, so there's a chance that the fuel pressure is pretty low to start with. Now the reason it's a good idea to release the fuel pressure is it's about 30 to 40 pounds of pressure that you're going to find that pump's pushing in the back on your fuel filter right now. And the thing is those retainers are meant to be pressurized to help seal and keep it on the fuel filter. Now I've removed this little cap. You can see what it looks like there. This is stock, and it looks like a tire stem cap, and basically it goes over top of this Schrader type valve. Now I've got a towel that's down here to catch a lot of this, and again, the engine's not hot. You can take just a normal screwdriver with a flat tip, a small one, and you can depress this valve in here, and there's not any pressure there, just as I expected because it sat overnight. I'll go ahead and put this cap back on so I don't lose it, and we'll climb underneath the truck and take a look at the fuel filter's location and how it's held on there. Alright, so here we are on the driver's side of the truck. I'll go ahead and climb underneath, and here's the frame rail. There's the front tank. This is a 95 with a long bed. Here's the fuel filter. Now they have a couple of clips that you will, on both ends they're the same. You'll remove these clips, and then I have a tool that slides in here that depresses the clips that are retaining the hose onto the nipple flare that comes out of the filter. And this retainer here is just a big spring. Basically you just kind of pry this apart to allow this filter to slide out, but right now I want it to stay in there so I can use it to hold the filter to use my tool to depress these. The fuel filter tool that I'm going to show you here, it's inexpensive, and if you want to change fuel filters or air conditioning lines or replace air conditioning lines or fuel lines up on your fuel rail, anything like that, it's a good idea to pick one up just to have it in your box. Okay, we'll go back here to the box. I already got the drawer open because I was digging through here earlier. So here we have some release tools. Now this was something that I got for a GM vehicle, and I suspect that would probably work okay possibly on the Ford, but it's not really needed, and these are a little bit cumbersome. This is the tool that I use, and it's really inexpensive. I don't even remember what I paid for it. I'll try to find a link for one of these, and I'll put it in the description down below. I'll also put a link in the description for an A filter. You can get it real cheap on Amazon. They're cheaper than the part stores. They ship them within a couple days if you're a Prime member, and I think it was $11, which is being delivered today, and I'm not sure if it's in the mail yet or not, but we'll see. Alright, so the Postal Service came, they delivered my box, I ripped it open here, and this is what you get whenever you go through Amazon. It's a Motorcraft original filter, and it was $11, and it was sent to me in 2 days. A factory Ford filter. You can see made in the USA. I just wanted to show you that Amazon's got some good stuff. And again, the link will be down below. Click it and this will take you right to the fuel filter. Okay, so I got my gloves and I got a rag. I have a flat tip screwdriver, you can see here. Now the first thing I wanted to check is make sure that this thing wasn't rusted and going to break away, which it looks like it's okay. Now at this point, I want to remove these clips. I'm going to go ahead and use this screwdriver to help me out a little bit. You can see they just kind of pop up, and you can pull them off. There you go. I just pulled it off and now it's out of the way. And the same with the back one here, which you can't really see that too well. And there you go. Oh, that's interesting. So my fuel tank strap broke on the front. That could be a problem. Okay, with those two clips removed, I'm going to try to work the back one first. The reason is I'm near the front, and the front one is going to be leaking on me the whole time if I don't do the back one first. So,
hey YouTube, sorry to cut in on you like this, but basically what you're seeing here is a monkey humping a football, because I can't get this tool to fit in between the filter housing and the end of the hose to release these clips that I'm trying to talk about. And I'll tell you why. I bought a cheap fuel filter years ago, and apparently the spouts, the inlets and outlets, aren't long enough for the tool to fit in there. Now I checked this out with the Motorcraft one and everything worked fine. So what I'm going to do is, instead of having you watch me screw around with this forever and then finding out that I had to make some sort of a tool to fit in there, which is made out of a pen cap, it's just ridiculous. So I'm going to fast forward through all this, and we're going to go ahead and go into what I had done and how I finished this out. So thanks for hanging on. We'll get through this. I barely did.
alright, so I just changed the fuel filter in my truck, and I had to cut a bunch of steps out. And the reason is because the cheap filter that I used originally, trying to keep costs down, was not long enough at the spout going in or out of the filter to allow my tool to work correctly. So now the fuel filter's back in, and you can see that the clips are in and back on the way they are supposed to be, to keep the fuel line on there just in case those retainers, those built-in retainers, break. Now what I'll do is I'll prime the truck by turning the key forward a few times and listening for the pump, and pressurize the fuel rail. And then at that point I'll come underneath here and check for some leaks. If for some reason you see a drop or two of fuel that comes out during the initial prime on this, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because sometimes it takes a little bit of that pressure when you first you turn the key forward to make the seal positive on these fittings. Now if the fuel continues to leak after that, then you have a problem. So I'm going to show you the fuel filter. I'm going to cut open the old one, and I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut open the fuel filter. You can see it's relatively clean inside. There is a little bit of dirt, silt thing going on there, a little bit of metal shavings, and that's not from cutting it open. That's actually from debris that was in there. And expect the fuel that's still left into this. Whenever you're taking that fuel filter off, there's a lot of fuel that will spill. And then when you disconnect both lines, there'll be even more fuel that comes out. But what I'm saying is that this fuel filter, these inlets and outlets here, weren't long enough for my tool to fit in there to depress those springs. As far as the fuel that comes out, I've already got rid of it. I drained it off into this little tuna can, and there was just tons and tons. It was like muddy water that came out. You can kind of see some of the residual that's left there. But there was a lot of this. This whole container was filled with basically mud water is what it looked like. But unfortunately it was fuel. I also noticed when I was underneath there, my fuel tank strap is broke on the front of the truck. So it's a good idea to get underneath and just inspect your truck every once in a while. You can see I've already cleaned my face a couple times. This is what it's like working on rusty vehicles. You can see my arm there also. It's unfortunate that we have to deal with this in Ohio and other parts of the country that we're in the Rust Belt, and these vehicles just rust and rust and rust. So that's how you change the fuel filter, but also to let you know that if you buy cheap, inexpensive filters instead of the factory ones, you might have to deal with the stuff that I just did. So again, the links are down below. Sorry again for how dirty I am. The link is down below for the tool, for the removal, and also for the fuel filter. And again, make sure it's a Motorcraft. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Bye.